Hi there, it's Diana with How To Succulents. Today I want to talk to you about how I winterize my succulents. So for me, I live in an area where the temperature dips below freezing, so I have to bring all my tender succulents, these are succulents that won't survive freezing temperatures, I bring them all indoors. So if your temperature doesn't dip below that, you don't really need to worry about this, or if it's just a couple of days out of the year, you can protect your succulents by covering them outside. But for me, it gets well below freezing, I gotta bring mine in. So a couple of things that I usually try to do around this time of year in October, right before we have our first frost, I try to kind of clean up my succulents. So if you've got kind of dried up leaves like this guy here, you can see, or even blooms. So this bloom is beautiful, but I'm gonna actually just cut it off, and what that's telling the plant is to redirect your energy. Stop focusing on the bloom, and we're gonna try to ease it into dormancy. So a lot of succulents go dormant in the winter, and what that means is we need to water them less. There's less light when we're in the northern hemisphere, right, during winter. So the farther north you are, the less light you get. And what that means is there's a direct correlation to how much water you should or shouldn't be using, right? So I will be cutting off these stems. You can throw them away, or if you're really attached to them like I am, you can make like a little arrangement out of them and stick them in a vase, right? You can actually try propagating some of these leaves that are on the bloom stem or stalk as well. Another thing that I try to do at this time, like I mentioned, clean up, get any dead leaves off of the plants, but I also try to kind of prep them for success. So during this time I will put a systemic insecticide in the soil, and so what that basically does, as you water the plant, when this is mixed into the soil, it gets absorbed by the plant from the roots, and it actually becomes part of the plant, and it protects it from insects and pests. So insects are really prevalent when you bring your plants indoors. There's less air movement, there's less circulation, and pests can be an issue. So I'm just trying to kind of combat that before winter starts. Another thing that I will do is put like something topical on the plant too if it's got a lot of insect issues. So an insecticidal soap will do the trick. So use that for a couple of weeks in a row, and we do that because the life cycle of some of these bugs can be like a month. So if you use it once a week for about a month, you usually can control the issue if you have one. An alternative to using insecticidal soap is actually rubbing alcohol, of all things. So if you've got mealybugs, you can dip a Q-tip in that and wipe them away from a plant. Or if there's a really big issue, you can just attach a spray nozzle to the bottle of rubbing alcohol and spray your plants. So I kind of like to do all this stuff before I bring them all indoors. It's just some maintenance stuff to keep them healthy and help ensure that they will make it through the winter. I'll talk about environment inside next in my next video, but I just wanted to kind of let you guys know there's a little bit of prep work that you can do now. Another thing that I try to do, and it's not necessary, but I can't stand when I buy a plant and I don't have time to pot it up, and so it stays in these plastic pots like this. So I will use this time to make sure that I've got enough pots that have drainage holes where I can plant those before they start to go dormant. And then really the biggest thing with the plants is to start decreasing the amount of water. So if you're watering them right now during the summer, once every week and a half or 2 weeks, start cutting back to 3 weeks. And that's basically forcing the plant into dormancy as well. So again, with less light, we want to water it less. Otherwise, if you continue watering it and it gets less light during winter, during the dark months, it'll start to stretch and it's not as healthy of a plant, and it doesn't maintain the shape that it should. So I hope that was helpful. I know that's a lot of information. I will write it all out so you guys have it. And I look forward to the next video. Make sure that you subscribe and like this video, and be sure to follow us on Instagram. Thank you. Bye.